A Visit to the Oregon State Hospital, 1916. This is an excerpt from the Oregon Teacher's Monthly Magazine, published in May 1916, Volume 20, No. 9, Oregon Teacher's Monthly featured articles written by teachers, students and administrators related to general interest topics and had a news section with a county-by-county listings of school-related events. We came across this issue in the holdings of the Oregon State Library. This excerpt is Chapter 10 in a series of articles written by Frank K. Wells, Assistant State Superintendent of Public Instruction, on state institutions. The information he presents appears to have come from studying published reports of the hospital and a personal tour. Our Oregon State Institutions. The Oregon State Hospital. Some of the school children who will read this article have never visited a hospital for the insane and will be interested to know what such an institution looks like, how the hundreds of patients are cared for, what they do and how they live. The modern hospital for the insane is quite a different institution from what it used to be. Now it is indeed a hospital for the treatment of persons with deranged minds, most of whom also have some physical ailment, rather than simply an asylum for the detention and safekeeping of the insane. Oregon has two hospitals for the insane. One is situated just east of the city limits of Salem and the other is a short distance west of Pendleton in Umatilla County. The Eastern Oregon State Hospital was built during 1911 and 1912 and is modern in every respect. As soon as this institution was completed, 325 patients were transferred to it from the Salem Hospital in order to relieve the overcrowded condition at the latter place. As far as possible, the insane from Eastern Oregon are sent to Pendleton and those from Western Oregon to Salem. The number of insane is increasing so rapidly that the last legislature authorized the construction of a new $100,000 wing to the Pendleton Hospital. This has recently been completed. There is also a fine farm in connection with that institution. The last report of the superintendent shows that there are now about 379 insane persons at the Pendleton Hospital. A Survey of State Mental Institutions, 1940. Source: A Survey of the State Mental Institutions of Oregon. Washington, D.C., United States Public Health Service, 1940. Eastern Oregon State Hospital. On January 26, 1913, 325 patients were transferred from the Oregon State Hospital in Salem to the newly built Eastern Oregon State Hospital in Pendleton. 1. The first impetus for the new hospital came to the legislature by the initiative process in 1910. 2. The initiative called for the building of an insane asylum in Eastern Oregon in Baker City, Pendleton, or Union. 3. The 1911 legislature appropriated a total of $515,000 for the purchase, building, and furnishing of the new hospital. A 450-acre site 1 mile east of Pendleton was selected. The hospital soon outgrew its 400-bed capacity and the 1915 legislature appropriated additional funds for a building expansion that would help accommodate an additional 180 patients. 4. The wing was designed by the Olson and Johnson Company. Additional improvements that year included the building of an ice plant, installation of cement walks, construction of a chicken house, installation of a coal shed and transformer house, construction of a morgue and crematory, extension of the irrigation system, and the fencing of the grounds. Standard Hospital Asylum and Institution Directory, 1928. The Standard Hospital Asylum and Institution Directory, written by M.F. Tehan and published by Standard Publishing in Topeka, Kansas, was the directory for hospital workers. In addition to topical essays on general practices within asylums and institutions, it lists all institutions in the country, and some in the Caribbean as well, and provides detailed information on such things as staff housing situations, uniforms, staff entertainment, time off per week, salaries paid, size and layout of the hospital, size of the nearest town and approximate transportation fare between the town and the hospital. It had the following to say about Oregon's 3 institutions at the time. I have expanded upon the original abbreviations for the purpose of clarity. Eastern Oregon State Hospital, closest town, Pendleton, population 8,000. 2 miles. 50C taxi fare. Wing, layout. Dr. W. D. McNary, Superintendent. Patients 800. Employees 75. Physicians 3. Semi-weekly amusements. Partial married quarters. Uniform, striped gingham, belted at waist, bib and strap, white apron. Duty hours, December 5th 14. Night duty hours, 10. Time off, 3 afternoons a week.
Eastern Oregon State Hospital. On January 26, 1913, 325 patients were transferred from the Oregon State Hospital in Salem to the newly built Eastern Oregon State Hospital in Pendleton. The first impetus for the new hospital came to the legislature by the initiative process in 1910. The initiative called for the building of an insane asylum in Eastern Oregon in Baker City, Pendleton or Union. The 1911 legislature appropriated a total of $515,000 for the purchase, building and furnishing of the new hospital. A 450-acre site 1 mile east of Pendleton was selected. The hospital soon outgrew its 400-bed capacity and the 1915 legislature appropriated additional funds for a building expansion that would help accommodate an additional 180 patients. The wing was designed by the Olson & Johnson Company. Additional improvements that year included the building of an ice plant, installation of cement walks, construction of a chicken house, installation of a coal shed and transformer house, construction of a morgue and crematory, extension of the irrigation system, and the fencing of the grounds. The original purpose of OSH was to provide care for the insane from the counties comprising what is known as Eastern Oregon, namely, Baker, Crook, Deschutes, Grant, Gilliam, Harney, Hood River, Jefferson, Klamath, Lake Malheur, Morrow, Sherman, Union, Umatilla, Wallowa, and Wheeler. Additionally, the hospital served to lessen the overcrowding at the Oregon State Hospital in Salem. The Board of Control had written in its legislative charter the ability to transfer patients between institutions should it be financially necessary to do so or in the best interest of the patients. It exercised this right and substantial numbers of patients transferred from Salem to ease the ever-present overcrowding there. As OSH Superintendent McNary notes in his report to the Oregon State Board of Control in 1922. It is expected that patients will be transferred from Salem or committed from that district in order to provide relief for that institution, and even with these additional accommodations, new facilities previously mentioned, it is a serious question whether room can be provided for the progressive increase of population in our institutions without further extension of the building program. In the first 15 years of operation, the patient population at OSH tripled, see graph below. In the first year of the operation, OSH employed 54 staff members. In addition to the medical aspect of hospital operation, there were also more practical departments including a bakery, laundry, engine room, farm, garden, dairy, sewing room, carpenter's shop, shoe shop, drug store and kitchen and dining rooms. The hospital sold surplus products from the gardens and farms and put the money into an institutional betterment fund to help support its activities. Daily life at OSH. People were sent to the Eastern Oregon State Hospital for a variety of reasons. Alleged causes of insanity for new patients in 1936 lists 94 causes that range from adolescence and head injury to occult study, senility, epilepsy, drinking moonshine and syphilis. Treatment methods varied. The 1916 purchase of new hydrotherapeutic equipment indicate that hydrotherapy was an early option at OSH. Visitors were allowed daily from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. except for weekends and holidays. Special exceptions were made for immediate relatives, who were permitted to visit on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Amusements by 1916 included twice-weekly moving picture shows, occasional traveling entertainers, and musical entertainments provided by the citizens of Pendleton. Books and magazines were provided by the hospital and patients were encouraged to go on supervised daily walks when the weather was suitable. In the 1928, medical employees of the hospital worked 12.5 to 14 hours per day, with 3 afternoons off weekly. Nurses were expected to wear a striped gingham uniform, belted at the waist, with a white apron. Semi-weekly amusements were also provided for staff members. Further events at OSH. 1949, an additional building constructed to serve as the admission hospital. 1960, OSH opened an outpatient clinic. It was initially operated 3 half-days a week. 1963, more than 50% of first admissions are voluntary. 1965, hospital becomes Eastern Oregon Hospital and Training Center and adds program for people with developmental disabilities. 1985. Eastern Oregon Correctional Institution, a minimum security prison, as authorized by 1983 legislature, opens on campus, and the Eastern Oregon Hospital and Training Center becomes the Eastern Oregon Psychiatric Center, EOPC, a 60-bed inpatient facility for psychiatric patients, and the Eastern Oregon Training Center, EOTC, a 90-bed training center for residents who have developmental disabilities. October 31, 2009. Eastern Oregon Training Center, EOTC, closes. Superintendents of the Eastern Oregon State Hospital: Dr. Wilson D. McNary 1912, Dr. Donald Ware 1941, Dr. Emmanuel I. Silk 1960. First Biennial Report of the Oregon State Board of Control for the biennial period ending September 30, 1914. Page 88. Oregon Blue Book 1918. Oregon Blue Book 1913 to 1918 editions. Letter to Honorable F. W. Benson, Acting Governor and Secretary of State, dated N. November 28, 1910. Unsigned. OSH Collections. OSH Scrapbooks, T 2009. 002-427-0028. Oregon Blue Book 1913 to 1918 editions. Second Biennial Report of the Oregon State Board of Control for the biennial period ending September 30, 1915 to the 29th Legislative Assembly 1917. Oregon Blue Book 1913 to 1918 editions. Chapter 78, General Laws of 1913, an Act creating the Oregon State Board of Control, Section 17, the said board may transfer or remove patients from one hospital to the other whenever, in its judgment, the condition of said patients will be improved or the cost of their maintenance be lessened. Published First Biennial Report of the Oregon State Board of Control for the biennial period ending September 30, 1914. Fifth Biennial Report of the Oregon State Board of Control for the biennium ending September 30, 1922. Published in 1923. First Biennial Report of the Oregon State Board of Control for the biennial period ending September 30, 1914. 12th Biennial Report of the Eastern Oregon State Hospital for the period ending June 30, 1936. pg. 54. Second Biennial Report of the Oregon State Board of Control for the biennial period ending September 30, 1916. Page 125-128. First Biennial Report of the Oregon State Board of Control for the biennial period ending September 30, 1914. Second Biennial Report of the Oregon State Board of Control for the biennial period ending September 30, 1916. 10. MF Standard Hospital Asylum and Institution Directory. Topeka, Standard Publishing Company, 1928. Page 64. Mental Health Week observed Eastern Oregonian May 3, 1963. OSH Outpatient Clinic to open Eastern Oregonian. April 16, 1960. T 2009. 002-427-0028. Mental Health Week observed Eastern Oregonian May 3, 1963. Dr. Barber retires for Mayo East Oregonian June 15, 1967, Oregon Blue Book. Oregon Blue Book. Memorandum from Oregon Department of Human Services Director Bruce Goldberg dated November 6, 2009.